So just for something fun to do today, what I'm going to do is a quick tier list based on all the Digimon Dim cards that have been released or have been announced up to this point. So if you look at the bottom here, you'll see I mostly have them in order of how they were announced or released, except for the exception of these two down here, which I'll get back to later on. So starting off, we have the Impulse City Dim. The Impulse City Dim is definitely one of my favorite Dim cards for the device. Just down to the sheer amount of new Digimon that we got in this one Dim card. There was no Digimon in here that we'd already seen before. Everything here was brand new and designed for the idea of the Vital Bracelet based around exercise. And the Digimon designs are very unique as well. Stuff like Pissmon or Boutmon. They really stand out the most to me out of this device just because of how unique they looked in comparison to other Digimon. So basically, based on everything that we've seen from this Dim card and all the Digimon in it, I'm definitely putting this one on S tier, as mainly down to how innovative they were with their Digimon designs and how much fun it was to train up your Digimon and see what different forms you get, because no matter what you done, you always got a Digimon that you did not see before. Second up, we have the Ancient Warriors Dim card. The Ancient Warriors Dim card is definitely a good Dim card. It's a shame that this Dim card has not been made as available as most of the other Dim cards, mainly because it was a selling point for picking up the neon green Vmon Vital Bracelet. So for that, it'll be losing a couple of points. The other thing that really bothers me about this Dim card is the lack of Imperialmon Paladin mode. There's already so few Jogras Mega type Digimon. There is already Omegamon brought out between Agamon and Gabumon. So there was no reason that they couldn't have put the fighter mode in there and have you be able to Jogras between the two. So yeah, based on those things, I'd have to put it in B tier for myself, just because of the lack of a Paladin mode. It could have easily been put in there for Jogras as a surprise Digimon that would have showed up after the Agamon and Gabumon release, and also because of how hard it is to get this one without having to buy another Vital Bracelet. So next up we have Black Roar. So the Black Roar Dim card has been made pretty much irrelevant at this point just because of the release of Mad Black Roar and True Shadowhull later on this year. The Dim card isn't bad. I mean, everyone likes the Black Agamon line, the Black Gabumon lines, but because it was just a single line Dim card, just like a trial Dim card they were calling it, it's definitely losing points for that. The other thing that's also making it lose points, it was a pre-order bonus, so if you didn't pre-order your Vital Bracelet, you were not getting this. So because of how limited it was to get and the very limited amount of Digimon on there, I'm definitely putting this in D tier. So next up we have Shadowhull. So Shadowhull was a counterpart to Black Roar. The very unfortunate thing with these two, especially when you need the two to Jogras, unfortunately with Shadowhull, it was only given, I think it was to 5,000 people from a draw in Japan only, which made it extremely impossible to get. And if you do want to buy it now, it is so expensive. I think it's up in like 200 quid or something in some places I've seen. Definitely not worth it unless you're a true collector for these things. I don't see a point in throwing out that much on a Dim card, especially for a single line evolution that has also been made irrelevant, as I said, because of the True Shadowhull Dim card coming out later on. So yeah, I'm gonna put that in D tier, but definitely towards the back, like a lower D tier, pushing on for E tier, just because of how very limited this one was. So next up we have the Agamon Dim card from the Adventure Dim card set. The Agamon Dim card is definitely one of my favorites, just because Agamon is a long-time favorite Digimon of mine. He's been my favorite Digimon since the first episode of Digimon that I've ever watched, which was the first episode, and it just has not changed since, even though all these other forms and other Digimon that have been coming out since, Agamon still cannot be replaced for me. But unfortunately there are some drawbacks with this Dim card. The first kind of minor one is the inclusion of Agamon between Agamon and Gabumon. It would have been fine if it was in one Dim card, but the fact it was in both and taking up a slot that it didn't need to. So the other thing then that I find a bit upsetting about this Dim card is the exclusion of Omegamon Alter S. So they have Blitzgreymon, but they also have on the Gabumon version Crestgarurumon, and they don't Jogras, which is a very unfortunate missed opportunity yet again with the Jogras lines. So for that, I'm going to put it in A. Because I ranked Agamon in A and they both pretty much have the same complaints, I'm also going to rank Gabumon in A as well. Next up we have Volcanic B, another favourite dim card of mine. In fact, you're going to hear that from me a lot because I really like a lot of these dim cards and the Digimon included on them. But Volcanic B is definitely a really good dim card. The one thing I loved about it was the inclusion of so many fire type Digimon, especially some that were never really used too much, like Flaremon. Flaremon, I think I said it in a video a couple of weeks back, but Flaremon is definitely a favourite Digimon for me just because of he was in Digimon World Dawn, the game that got me back into Digimon. So for that, it gains a lot of points for me. It's got a nice little mix between the new Digimon, old Digimon, like stuff like Master Tyrannomon or Birdramon, Tyrannomon, Mirrormon being old Digimon, and then a lot of the rest of the guys then being like newer Digimon. Stuff like the Vorvamon line, Canondramon, who isn't used too much either, and like I said, Flaremon. It's definitely a good dim card, and for that I'll put this up in A tier because it is actually fairly readily available for people looking for it. It's not too expensive, it's easily found. So next is Blizzard Fang. It's pretty much the same as Volcanic B for me. It's a nice little blend of old and new. What I would like to see, just while I'm talking about like sets of 2 and stuff at the moment, I'd like to have seen that each set of 2 had a Jogress Digimon that came with them. It didn't have to like make too much sense with it, just to give it a Jogress evolution to kind of tie the 2 dim cards together. I mean, yeah, the 2 opposing teams in both sets so far do tie them together, but just to have something that could connect the 2 would be so cool, like a Jogress Digimon. So yeah, I'm gonna say A again for this one. Next up we have the 20th anniversary Tamers dim cards. So the Tamers dim cards I have a few problems with, but they're not major problems, they're just more kind of nitpicks. The first one I suppose I'll go through is the mostly single line evolution until you get to Mega. From there you have an option between 3 different Megas of what one you want to get. The other unfortunate thing with them was that they were a gacha, so it was pure random unless you went through other avenues to try and pick one up. I don't think a lot of people were very happy with this. I think people would have preferred just to be able to just buy them outright and just have whatever dim card it was that you preferred. Another nitpick I have for these actually is, where's Terriermon? It just made no sense now, unless they plan on doing a Terriermon, Lopmon kind of set later on. But I just really would have liked to have seen Terriermon in there instead of Monodramon, maybe, just because Terriermon is definitely more prevalent in the series, if not more prevalent than even Renamon. Like the whole Momentai just stuck with everyone the whole way through that series. It was just kind of a joke, an in-joke for the series, I suppose. So I'll just go through these really quickly. So I'm just going to put all 4 of them up in B tier just because it just makes sense. They are a nice little collector's item to have. I don't know if they're going to reprint these like they're reprinting some of them, just because these are 20th anniversary products for Tamers this year. But they are definitely cool to have, and because of the Gachapon I can't put them in A, but they'll definitely go into B, even though they are single evolution. So next up we have the Mad Black Roar and True Shadowhull Dim cards. These dim cards are really cool. So these are like a full version of what Shadowhull and Black Roar should have been. They have a lot of cool Digimon added in there as well. Stuff like the alternate forms for Metal Greymon and Weregarurumon from the new series of Digimon. Because of the inclusion of so many cool Digimon on there, I think I'm going to give both of these an A tier. Just because they can Jogress as well as an extra Jogress Digimon for us, even though same Omegamon. Next up is the Medarot X Digital Monster Dim card. This dim card was originally only coming out with the Meta Watch that was announced there a few months back. The Meta Watch was 200 quid, which is definitely not worth it from what I've heard of what that watch can do. It's just really not worth it. But because of the crossover aspect of it, and being that it's Digimon with Metabots, 2 of probably my most favourite childhood kind of anime series, or favourite series in general, I really wanted to have it, but like that I was not wanting to pay 200 quid. So when they announced that this was being sold separately as its own thing, especially for, I think it was very cheap, it was like $10, $15, something like that. It was probably even cheaper. That was well worth it. I don't see why you'd have a problem with that. They also originally said it was not going to have app functionality, like you couldn't store it and add it to the picture book or anything like that. It would just be something that sit in your Vital Bracelet. But now they've changed that. It can be added to your picture book in your app. It can also be used for battles as well, apparently. I think I seen them say something about battle functionalities for it. Just the fact that you can get a battle with Agamon or any Digimon against a Meta B or Rokusho is just so cool. Just to see Omedamon on a screen, like canon to Digimon at this point is what I'm going to call this, and not just an April Fool's crossover thing. That's kind of the big thing about this one. But yeah, because of all those cool things, this has to go into S tier. There's no way it cannot go into anything less. Just because it's a huge thing when you see a crossover like for something like this, especially like I said, for the huge things from your childhood, you see a crossover like this. It's like a Spider-Man and Batman were to team up. It's just cool. It doesn't have to make sense. It's there and it's cool, and that's what people want from them. Then we've got these ones down here, the Infinite Tide and Titan of Dust dim cards. There's very little known about these. These are coming out like next month. I can't find a graph for them anywhere online for the evolutions to see what's in them, to talk about them more. If anyone has anything like that, please send it on to me. Let me see. Something I am interested in looking at, especially because they're Pendulum Z Digimon as well. These are all like brand new Digimon. I think they only came out, I'm nearly sure it was last year. But unfortunately, like I said, we don't know much besides their release date and what the dim cards look like. We don't know what Digimon are going to be on these. And for now, based on that, I'm going to put them in B tier. I think it would be very unfair to put them in a C tier, because we know they're going to have some Pendulum Z stuff, which I think is some of the best designs in Digimon for a while. So you'll probably notice as well that Hermit in the Jungle and New Metal Empire's dim cards are not there at all. For two reasons. One, I couldn't find a picture. And two, Bandai have not officially announced these. They are set to come out sometime in August, which makes me think that we should be hearing something soon. But we'll just wait a minute. But yeah, because of those reasons, I couldn't put them on the list. So yeah, that's pretty much my set. I think I'm happy with that. I'll leave the template here for anyone who wants to try make their own one on tiermaker.com. For anyone that wants to mess around with these and make their own tier list. If you do, please share them with me on Twitter. I want to have a look at them all, just see what other people think. If you don't want to make your own, just let me know in the comments what you would change in mine. Like, these are my own opinions. Everyone's going to have a different opinion when it comes to Digimon or anything in general. But I'm definitely interested to see what other people see, what their reasons for stuff like this are. But yeah, if you want, give it a shot over in Tiermaker. Share your finalized tier list with me. I'll definitely have a look. Like I said, I'm very interested to see what other people think of these dim cards. So yeah, that's everything for today. Thanks very much for watching. See you again. Bye bye.